The other day, we talked about Spider-Gwen coming to the MCU and the SUMC. That's the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Sony's universe of Marvel characters. Today, we're talking about female Spider-People. But not Gwen this time, no. Today is all about Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman. Before we start, though, I do want to say thank you, whether it's your first time here or you're back for more, for watching the channel. Don't forget to subscribe because we upload content exactly like this each and every week and so much more. Let's jump right into this video. Today's video is about the cinematic debut of Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman. On February 11th, a Twitter account with the name ERC Box Office, verified valid source, mind you, tweeted out this tweet. In it, they state, Sony's web continues to grow. Untitled Sony/Marvel pick now set for October 8th, 2021. Some thought this referred to a solo Kraven the Hunter film. Others turned to Madam Web, citing the phrasing in the tweet, specifically the word web. Back in October of 2019, our friends TiVo and the Lords of the Long Box said that Jessica Drew was on their spec list, meaning the studio wanted to use the character at some point. So it's clear they've been thinking about her for quite a while. The interesting thing about the October 8th, 2021 date is that Marvel Studios also has the same date slated for a film. Logically, it wouldn't make sense that they would cannibalize their own ticket sales and have competing movies since they're collaborating so closely on the Spider-Man properties and their MCU adjacent projects. So this means the date is the same film, and that tells us a lot. A handful of scoopers chimed in and said that Sony is developing a movie based on Spider-Woman. For example, Daniel RPK tweeted on February 11th, 2 months ago, I heard they're developing a Spider-Woman movie. So it's likely the one that is set for next year. Maybe. The thing with Spider-Woman is that her rights are more complicated than others that Sony and Marvel have been sharing. The contract between them says Jessica Drew, and specifically listed related characters. Sony Pictures may depict Jessica Drew as Spider-Woman, and Marvel may only use her without any Spider-Man related elements. In other words, Sony can use her without restriction, but Marvel can essentially only use the Jessica Drew name. Catch for Sony is their restrictions on just how connected to the MCU they can make it. And that's where the partnership and the shared release date come in. This is funny because Spider-Woman herself was created due to fears over rights. Stan Lee heard the show might introduce a female Spider-Man character, so they had to create their own to secure the rights. If the show made her first, they'd have the rights to the name. Thought it would be better to do it real fast to copyright the name, Stan Lee said in an interview once. And since her debut in Marvel's spotlight in 1977, she has remained her own distinctive character with her own stories and cast of supporting characters. There was a rumor that they wanted Jessica Drew in Spider-Man Far From Home, but she was actually written out of the final script draft. So to get around the contract stipulations, she would have been an agent of Britain's MI6, instead of S.H.I.E.L.D., Hydra, or even S.W.O.R.D., which are all under Marvel. If and when Marvel uses her, they can have an Agent Jessica Drew, but without Spider-Woman's powers. Sony has been working on an animated all-Spider-Woman spin-off to their wildly popular Into the Spider-Verse film that they put out with Phil Lord and Chris Miller at the end of 2018. Spider-Gwen, Spider-Verse, Spider-Woman are all spinning out of that success along with a proper sequel. Now it's too early to tell with 100% certainty if this Spider-Woman might be that shared animated property or something completely new, live action with a live action Jessica Drew. Amy Pascal told Vanity Fair that the animated Spider-Woman would feature Spider-Gwen and Cindy Moon, aka Silk, as well as Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman. The reason I'm inclined to say it's different is because of Marvel's involvement in the project. Into the Spider-Verse and its subsequent spin-offs were Columbia Pictures and Sony Pictures Animation. They were in conjunction with Marvel Studios, but they were primarily Columbia and Sony Animation. The Into the Spider-Verse sequel, the proper sequel, is already set for April of 2022, so it's not that. Going back to that Kraven the Hunter solo film rumor, I'm still of the mind that that was on the table at one point, but it's evolved into him being one of the villains of Spider-Man 3. I say one of because of some rumors surrounding the Morbius film. A potential plot leak for that. That's for a different video. So the news for Jessica Drew would not necessarily invalidate anything that we've talked about recently. If it is live action, as Spider-Woman could very much be a part of the Spider-Verse, and in fact had an important role to play in Secret Invasion. Talked about Secret Invasion and the S.W.O.R.D. Talked about live action Spider-Verse and Spider-Gwen. We've talked about the Secret Invasion on Disney Plus and how that was probably also the same thing as the S.W.O.R.D. show. By the way, speaking of Secret Invasion, and it was Queen Veronque who replaced Jessica Drew during the event. She was pivotal to that event. And a partnership like this could very much set her up to be that same pivotal role if Marvel wants to do something with that on Disney+. Now, given that this is for 2021, the studio would have to fast-track development to have it set up, filmed, and in post for editing, and then finished in time for October 2021. It's a tight time frame. Most recently, a website called Illuminati, confirmed as a reliable source by another reliable source, Charles Murphy, says that Sony's eyeing Michelle Maclaren to direct the film. Maclaren was at one time on to direct Wonder Woman. She's also done Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, and is still connected to the Cowboy Ninja Viking project, although that last one seems indefinitely shelved. But she has a very strong resume that seems primed and perfect for Spider-Woman. These pieces are already lining up for that fast-track advancement. And they are also saying that the studio's eyeing Alicia Vikander, who played Tomb Raider in the most recent reboot, the role of Jessica Drew. But now it's your turn. I want to know from you, who would you like to see cast as Jessica Drew in a live-action Spider-Woman film? Go ahead and leave me your picks in the comments section along with your other thoughts on this news. Let's continue the conversation down there. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can be one of the first to know when we upload videos just like this each and every week. I'm Jesse, this is JLS Comics, and I'll see you soon.